Welcome to Planet Butter, my planet, where I hopefully inspire you to take fun seriously by being intu-centric, leading with intuition while prioritizing self-control and self-expression in the best interest of all. This is from my planet to yours. Each episode is designed to provoke consciousness through entertaining perspectives and applied Planet Butter's philosophy by relating Planet Butter's philosophy to Earth's current society. I'm Jordan Blizzard Planet. Thanks for joining me in my 90th episode where I have happy tears coming again. These are the first words I'm speaking in almost a week because I went silent, but for melt mode, we'll get there. Thanks for joining our 90th episode where we will continue to relate Earth's current society to Planet Butter's philosophy by focusing on the lens of personal responsibility in relation to my so-called melt mode, as described on episode 89. Check it out. Whew. So to begin, we will rewind to Bali. We're in Bali now, but Bali almost 4 months ago. We're going to rewind just to brief those of you that might be new here and also just catch myself up a little bit to debrief after everything. So about 4 months ago in Bali, we were nearing the end of a chapter, if you will, and it was evident and apparent that certain loops were closing in my life at the time. And I could feel that I was focusing, Planet Butter, we were focused on the Nutter and the book, the newest book, Intu-Centric. And at the time, as I was nearing these loops were closing, I was wrapping up the first final draft of the first final draft of the manuscript of Intu-Centric. And we had solidified the Nutter recipe, and we had a romantic interest on the radar, which is only relevant because when I was about to leave on this adventure that became the last 3 and so months, I met a stranger who mirrored this person's name to me in response to my book. So I was like, what the fuck? Cool. So that was fascinating, right? And a seed that I never told you guys about, even from that quantum jump episode, which is where we related being intu-centric to quantum mechanics, which effectively became this quantum jump of these last 4 months. Stick with me. I will keep showing you how. So the seed that I forgot to mention is that on my way out of Bali at the end of that chapter, all the loops from that chapter were closing and still new seeds were planted for the new Bali chapter. Bali book, really, because it's so dense. So the new seed is, well, sure, we could consider the romantic interest. However, I was meeting a series of designers, clothing designers, and me designing my own clothing has always been on my radar, but it hasn't been time yet. And so I started to meet these designers, and I'm like, okay, uni, noted. Received and mirrored. And one of those designers had really loved my style and asked me about working together. And I was like, perfect. Yes. Not yet. Seed planted. So it became apparent to me that design is on the radar, more closely on the radar now. However, the books and the Nutter are priority. So, seeing these loops close and it became time to leave, we left for our adventure. And at the time, I could just feel we're going to be gone for a while. I don't know how long, and I don't really know where I'm going, except the first location, which was Dubai, which when I was mirrored the romantic interest in relation to my book was also, this stranger also mentions to me that person, the man, was also in Dubai. So I'm like, that's fucking weird, uni? Okay, cool, again. I'm like, interesting. So I go to Dubai with my nutter intentions of licensing meetings, okay, and potentially setting up the business there, part of the business there. And also needing to continue to work on and finish the book. So I knew that was my first location, and I could kind of sense, for some reason, Africa and Europe. So I'm like, okay, let's do this, uni. So we go on the adventure. So we go Dubai, and I've filled you guys in on all of this. Start with episode 75, and you'll be with me. And especially episode 86, we did the quantum jump. That really breaks it down for you guys, but if you watch each episode, you'll be in the places with me. It'll be fun. So, and you can always email me, myplanettoyours@gmail.com. So, guys, we go on this adventure, each place demanding different depths of me. And mind you, I'm going on like $0, not dramatic. We'll talk about that too, guys. Again, catch up. All honesty here. $0. Because I've invested everything into Planet Butter. So, it's so cool, okay? So, traveling this freaking earth with basically no money and clear vision and embodiment of my philosophy and blah, 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 blah. So, we left Bali with a broken computer, a broken phone, no joke. A jar of peanut butter, a final manuscript draft, the seed of the designer, and the potential romantic interest. Yeah, so boom, we go. Dubai, had the meetings, did the thing. Again, you guys can learn more about all of this when you rewatch or just watch for the first time. Then we're in Spain. That was a whole other thing. Then we were in Morocco. That was a thing. Then Spain was another thing. And then we got another thing and another thing and another thing. Then we took a bus trip to Amsterdam. And then that was a whole other adventure. And also, mind you, on the little bit of money I had, this was not just like travel and writing. And like, we can romanticize it totally. And did I? Absolutely. However, as I always love to say, it's not easy being intu-centric, but we can choose to make it fun. So I think I make things look so fun and have so much fun doing them that I don't know if you guys realize how fucking hard everything I do is. Like, so hard. But that's why we're going to be flying the Planet Butter jet real soon. So, I'm like changing I think the longest stay that I had in Dubai, it was 1 week stay, then 1 week stay. And then Morocco and Spain, I was changing neighborhoods and locations like every 2 or 3 days. 3 days was a luxury. It was insane. Again, because I was balling on a dime. Balling on a lucky penny, really. So I was being very strategic with everything. Yeah. So, and the uni was like pushing me, right? I'm traveling by intuition and lucky pennies here, okay? And a jar of nutter and a book to finish, and the whole society being like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm listening to the universe. So ridiculous, but so cool. So, oh man, okay. So that's why it was so crazy, because we're physically migrating constantly, navigating logistics constantly, navigating my lucky pennies constantly, writing a book that's depicting the embodiment of all of this in an objective way for you to relate to your life, not for you to do what I'm doing, for you to relate to your world, your planet, your healthy ego, okay? And the book is entirely written in an objective form designed to be read forwards, backwards, one random page read at a time, if you wish, with mixed media. So it's like beautiful colors, cool art, very strategically formatted wording, lines, all of it. Okay? So I'm simultaneously doing that, recording the podcast, building the publication, building the whole business, having the meetings, doing the things, while traveling this earth by the uni pushing me constantly, okay? Crazy. So like, I am at the uni's beck and call, okay? So it's anytime, like, it would change like this. When it was time to go, it was like one day I would be like, I can feel like we're reaching time to change or go or blah. Like the place would be revealed to me through uni signs and my intuition, yeah? And I would feel it's gonna be soon, and then, but I never, and then when it happened, it would just go, boop, it's time, go. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm going. And I'm like carrying these suitcases. Thankfully, I'm strong. I don't know how people who aren't like, knock wood, fit and healthy do anything. How do you guys do anything? Honestly, I hope you are okay. So consider being intucentric. So I'm carrying the suitcase. One of the wheels broke in Spain. So that was about halfway through. We've been traveling with a 3-wheeled suitcase, a giant duffel bag, and exhaustion. And so while doing all of this, the physical, mental, and emotional processing that was simultaneously happening as the movement of it. So we're simultaneously doing the movements and processing everything, because if we don't emotionally regulate, we're not going anywhere. So that's why it was so chaotic, intense, and magical all at the same time, because my frequency was going higher and higher and higher, but physically it was like, and my mental was like, and the logistics were like, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But also, I wish everybody had the luxury of experiencing all that I had to experience, so who knows? Okay, let's fast forward, shall we? So, the final days in Greece. Okay, so Greece was our last destination of this 4-month excursion, book completion adventure, whatever you want to call it, chaos. And in the final days of Greece, the uni finally permitted, well, wait a second. Okay, in the final days of Greece, I booked this hotel in this tiny little neighborhood in a little fishing village. And I had a couple of minor issues at the hotel that I shared with the manager. I was not complaining. I was just like, hey, just to let you know this, just to let you know this. All good, but I think you should know, kind of thing. And he really appreciated that. Next thing I know, he gives me an upgrade to their sister hotel down the street that had the same name phonetically as the romantic interest from Bali. I was like, what? And the name is not Greek. So I'm like, what? That's crazy, because it's not a common name. So I'm like, this is fascinating. Again, fascinated every time. And so I moved into this hotel with the name of my romantic interest and an ocean view. And that is where we got to publish the ebook version of Intucentric, because at that point, the book has been ready to be published since July 7th. It is, August 20th. And only by the end of July did the uni permit the ebook to be published. Paperback and hardcover, still standing. And as I shared in the Quantum Jump episode, that romantic interest is seemingly connected to the book from the beginning, because I started connecting all these other dots where I was like, wait a second, that is weird. Okay? So we connected all these dots to this man being connected to my book Then I finally release the book when I'm in a hotel with the same fucking name as him and that stranger in Bali, right? Like, are you guys with me? Like, this is not, like, this is just me tracking a fascinating connection. So I'm like, okay, got it. Cool. Ocean, book released, just the ebook, okay? We gifted it to a bunch of people that we were grateful for, okay? And we published it, thankfully, on Amazon. You can access it through planetbutter.com. Okay, so we get that upgrade. Then, that happens, the release happens. Then, the final day of this upgrade room reaches, we get to the day. And I still don't know where I'm going next or what I'm doing. But I technically had one more day on the reservation. And, but my upgraded room was booked. So the manager was like, you can come back to the other room that you had. And in my head, I was like, no, I'm not going backwards. We just got upgraded. But I didn't say that. I was just like, and this is not in like a, there's no this is just, I know that that's not how the universe works. Like, you don't go backwards. Well, I don't. So there's no backwards, there's forwards. So I'm like, okay, well, we already got upgraded. So I know that I'm not going back to that room. That just feels wrong. And that's not how the universe works. But I'm not here to force anything. I'm just here to take personal responsibility. So we clarify our boundaries. We respect our boundaries. We show up confidently in doing so. And we remain and sustain our alignment. Okay, so that last day comes, and he's like, okay, well, I'll help you move back to that other room. So, and nothing had come up yet. Like, the next location didn't come up. No other room opened up. Like, I thought maybe there'd be like a cancellation, something, right? Because I'm like, I know I'm not going back to that room. But nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, we'll go through the motion of going back to that room with the manager. And we moved our stuff there, my stuff. We moved my stuff there. And I was like, I feel really weird because I know I'm not supposed to be here. So what do I do? I go to the beach. Try to eat my brekkie. And my body was getting so agitated, like, this is not right. I go back to the hotel. I say to the manager, I'm like, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate the upgrade. I appreciate everything you've done. However, unfortunately, my body is literally rejecting this room. I have no other words to explain this. And he's like, I'm so sorry. What can we do? I'm like, I know it might sound crazy, but there's nothing. I don't know. Like, I think I'm going to just book a flight for later today. Because at the time, Italy had been whispering to me. So I'm like, but it wasn't the call. It was just like a whisper. So I'm like, okay. But it wasn't feeling right. Yeah, and I don't do things unless it's like clear yes. So I'm like still feeling into it. I'm like noting that Italy is whispering, but I'm not like, there's no rushing, there's no nothing. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to sit in this extreme discomfort right now and explain to him, all honesty, my body is simply rejecting this. And he's like, okay, I hear you. And also, mind you, everywhere I go, if I stayed at a hotel and not an Airbnb, you work too much, stop working so much. I'm like, guys, I'm getting a Planet Butter jet. Stop talking. I will work. I will keep working. Thank you. I love working. So he knew how hard I was working, and he did feel bad that he had to downgrade me after upgrading me. So this man, this angel, calls me back and says, I got you a room at our other sister hotel called Mythic. So we went from the man's name to the name Mythic. Back-to-back upgrades, which I just think is pretty sexy. So I'm like, okay. He goes, 5-star hotel. We got you a room with a hot tub and an ocean view with a sunset view. And I think you could really use that right now. I will drive you there myself, and we'll arrange a car for you to get to the ferry or the airport, wherever you're going tomorrow. And I was like, bless this man. And I was like, maybe this is my husband. Just kidding. I was like, I just felt so seen because I've been doing this all by my freaking self, okay? Of course, family and friends call, talk, share, whatever, but I am doing this by myself. And to be seen and held, not physically, mentally in that moment of like, I see you, I get you, I know how hard you're working, I feel bad about the downgrade after the upgrade, let me put you over here. That felt really fucking great. And the book had just released, but it was not time to relax because we still had logistical hell to go through. So I'm like, okay, where are we going? Italy or what? So we go to this gorgeous hotel and gratefully, we had a gym, a real gym for the first time. I've been doing just body weight everything, which is fine. I love that. But also weights are great. So we had access to a gym. So in my sheer exhaustion, I'm like, we get to go to the gym. So before we went to the gym though, I needed to go figure out where I was going because I had to leave in the next 18 hours. So I was like, where are we going, Uni? You haven't told me. But I'm still feeling into it. I'm like, I guess Italy's the only place whispering, but it's not that clear yes. So I'm like, okay, let's look at the map. Let's do what we do. Yeah. So we try to look at the map. We feel out. I'm like, oh, that feels good. That feels good. But that's not it's not the click. It's not the click. I start to look into flights. Not clicking, not clicking. So I'm like, okay, we're going to the gym. We go to the gym. And during my workout, boop, there it is. I remember that the night before, I had a very vivid dream that I was in the Bali airport. And I was like, oh, wait, that's the call. We're going to Bali? We did it. That means mission accomplished. And mission was accomplished. The mission was to finish this fucking book, you guys, and the book released. Even though it's just the ebook, the book is finished. It's released. Ugh, that's it. So I'm like, holy shit, we did it. Let's go. So I freak out. I'm so excited. I'm like, no more figuring shit out because Bali, I had my villa to return to. So technically I didn't have it yet because I had reserved it for September, not August. At one point, I thought I reserved it for August, but there was a misunderstanding with Bagus, and Bagus did not block it in August for me. So I just was like, let's just block it for September then, and we'll figure it out, whatever happens till then. And then it became the beginning of August. I was arriving in Bali, so I was like, hey, so I was like, okay, we're going to Bali. So I leave the gym, I book my flight, I text Bagus, I'm like, maybe the villa, if it's meant to be mine, it will be, yeah? So I'm like, okay. Bagus said, actually, we had a cancellation. All yours. I was like, woo! So, villa was mine. I was just like, the sense of home, because I had been based in that villa, that's been my home base for a year. So, to feel, the land of Bali feels like a fucking hug to me, okay? So, to just even not have to be in this logistics mode constantly and the output of the book and the emotional processing and all the things that were happening on such a vibrational level that words literally cannot describe that I did my best to in those previous episodes. I was literally on a very intense mushroom trip. I mean, I think life is a trip, but really this was so intense, the amount of physical, mental, and emotional demand required of me for those months, that when I had that click of, oh, it's time to go to Bali, it was like, girl, you can chill. So I was, yay. And the villa was mine. So I'm like, fuck yes. So I was stoked. But here's the thing. Part of me was like, I kind of want to go to another part of Bali before I go to, not before I go to the villa, but if the villa's not available, because I just want to melt. I was like, I just want to melt. I just want to go somewhere that I could just melt and not have to figure anything out. Not have to, I just want to melt. I just want to melt. I just want to melt. So I'm like, villa meant melt to me because it was at least familiar. Even though all the loops had closed in relation to that villa and that time of Bali, something was telling me to still return to the villa. And so And then it became available. So I was like, great, it's mine. I'm going to go melt. However, as you guys might know, if you were on, I don't know, Planit Butter Instagram subscribers, I told you guys for sure. So we booked Bali, but on the way to Bali, we have a layover in Doha, which I've now started to say. I think they call it Doha because it always has the last laugh. Really. So it was a 12-hour layover. And in this 12-hour layover, I told you guys, I guess last week, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. I'll keep it brief. Basically, Doha, I got this fabric, which now became, this shirt. And, oops. Okay, I'll stop showing you. I'll show you guys on Instagram. Planit Butter Instagram, you will see I made 2 tops out of 1 meter fabric. And, well, wait, not yet. Okay, guys, so, Doha. We get the fabric, my hair. Okay, we get the fabric, we get Yemeni honey, we get in a cat fight, protecting the life of a pigeon. So we hung out with some camels. We went on a swing set. We saw a beautiful skyline. We got our watch fixed. We had some yummy local food. It was a whole boogie, okay? But it was crazy because I was on my last, I was like, oh my God, really? One more country? Thank you, but Jesus Christ. So I was like, oh my goodness, uni. But uni sent me for that final push, the Doha, ha, 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 ha. So we went to Doha, ha, ha. And then we get to Bali, and if Doha has the last laugh, Mama Bali has the last word. Seriously. What a land. So while the land feels like a hug, the villa felt like I was walking into a ghost closet. I was like, I do not belong here. This is crazy. I was so happy to see the home, but in like a nostalgic way, not in like a I'm gonna rest way. And then I had the lovely discovery of mold. Lots of it. So I was like, oh, I felt out of place, and now the uni has confirmed it with mold. So I'm like, okay, we have to leave. Logistical stuff, not over. And again, paperback and hardcover, still floating. But we did reconnect with the designer. So in the first 4 days of Bali, it was, I don't belong in this villa. I feel disconnected, detached, beyond, I'm always detached in a healthy sense, okay? But I was so excited to just be in Bali that I didn't even care. I was sleeping outside, which I love to do if it's a safe environment. So it was like glamping in my villa because I was sleeping on the lounge chairs because the rooms were moldy and I needed to figure out where to go. But I was so exhausted that I wasn't just gonna I felt better being disconnected and at this villa than just rushing to a hotel immediately. I was like, I just want to be in what has once been home. We will call this a nostalgic nap. It was beautiful. I fell asleep staring at the moon. It was really amazing. Lots of mosquito bites. So I was so excited to come home to melt, but instead slept on my lounge chairs in my villa. But again, gratefully and excitedly and happily, and had the best time doing so. What a way to go out. So I was like, okay, we got to figure out where to go. So in the midst of visiting a couple other villas, I also managed to squeeze in a meeting with that designer that seed was planted with before leaving Bali. I told her about this fabric. I told her about some ideas I had. We discussed how we could potentially work together. I was not coherent in that meeting or looking at those villas. I was so depleted. All I wanted to do was melt, and the uni was like, yeah, you got a little bit more work to do, chicky girl. So I'm like, okay, uni, let's do this. But really, I was so excited, even though I was fucking exhausted, because I'm like, what's next, guys? This is going to be epic. We've really cleaned house. The book's done. The Nutter recipe is solidified. The designer meeting's locked. The villa's gone. All the other loops are closed. So I'm like, damn, newness. Let's go. So I'm like, okay, cool. So we have the meeting with the designer lady. We looked at these villas. They weren't feeling right. And then I was like, square one, I want to go to another part of Bali, which is what that was like my other pivot plan. If my villa wasn't available still. And I actually had looked at this place when I was considering that. And it pops back up again on the booking thing. And so I locked it in for 2 weeks. And I was like, we're going to the jungle for 2 weeks. I'm not going to talk to anybody. It's going to be awesome. I'm not going to figure out anything. No logistics, no writing, nothing. I want to do nothing that I've been doing for 2 weeks in this jungle. Like, I just need to be the fuck alone. Really, it was like, let's just lock into my own freaking space, my own energy, my own, like, I've been staying obviously in just a bajillion places all to myself, but it's not the same when you have neighbors, like the hotel rooms are closed or apartment buildings or like just talking to people, figuring this stuff out, working on the book, everything. So I'm like, it's too much. I just need to do not that. So I was ready to melt into the jungle. So we come to the jungle, and that's where we get to last week's episode, which we called Melt Mode, because I had recorded an entire episode for you guys that was really good. I did a bunch of random page reads. Actually, it probably wasn't that good, if I'm honest, like really honest, because I was depleted, but I was excited to do the episode because my podcast is my favorite thing. And but the uni had it, and the uni was like, no, chickie. That episode didn't work. And I was like, well, I'm not going to not publish the episode. We are not doing that to episode 89. So we did a 4-minute episode where I just told you guys what I'm telling you now and some other stuff. So go watch it. I won't repeat it. So then we went into melt mode, this jungle. The first few days, it was melting. And then we finally melted by about day 6. And when I say that, is what I mean is the first 6 days, the majority of the time I was able to be off the phone, not figuring out logistics and stuff. But I knew since this was for 2 weeks, I wanted to have my next place back in like the westernized part of Bali locked in so that I could really relax here, not worry about logistics, and just know that I have a place. So, So the first few days was like tying loose ends, if you will. So just different logistics. So it's cleaning up certain things with, the publication, thankfully, I had already pre-written a bunch of articles one day in Greece on those last few days. Just something came over me and all these articles just poured out of me. So I'm like scheduled content for like 2 months, which is insane. Because usually I only write them weekly because it's truly so connected to just like me in the present moment, what I'm writing. Like, of course, could I write every single day because I have new ideas? Totally, but that's not how I like to operate. So, whatever. So, the publication was handled and the book was done. I had gifted it to a ton of people, like I said, and the ebook was available and I did a fair amount of promotion. So, we wrapped up a couple of little promotional things, the publication, all this stuff. Yeah. Okay? So, also figuring out certain things with the Airbnb, locked in the next place, all the logistics. Okay. Then by day 6, when I finally reached my melting point, I was like, okay, we've melted. I was able to put no screens for almost a week. I was like, this is heaven. No screens. Because usually I've got great boundaries with my screen time because I'm very sensitive. And So it's not hard for me to have screen time boundaries, but I literally was demanded to be on the screen 10 times more than usual because of the amount of logistics that I needed to figure out and everything. So I was so excited to do no screen. And I also, once I reached that melt point, I was like, okay, no screen is obvious. Ditch the phone, ditch the computer, duh. Then I was like, I kind of want no words. So I said to myself, I'm not going to write. No journaling, no words anywhere, nothing. No talking. This episode was the first words I spoke in almost a week. 5 days, 6 days, 6 days. It was awesome. I wanted to go longer, but I was also just bursting with excitement to do this episode. So, no words, no screens, no writing. What I brought with me was this fabric that was 1 meter of rectangular fabric that I turned into this little poncho. It has a square neck here with a little swoop-de-doop there. It's cropped too, which you can't really see because I'm sitting, but it's really, really cute. Oh, there you can see a little bit. And I made another top. I made 2 tops, a choker. I have a little belt situation. I think that was all the fabric. And I'm really excited to show the designer, see what we can do with that. So we have Planit Butter's clothing line up and running. Now I've like, what do you call it? Upcycling. I've upcycled basically like all of my clothes since I was a teenager. I just have sick style and I love playing with clothes. But this is the first time I've actually made my own top from fabric, like from, so I chose the fabric in Doha and I've been making pancakes and using the Yemeni honey. Oh, and we made peanut butter, obviously the Planit Butter Nutter, which the blender was not a good one. So it was really clumpy. So we turned it into Planit Butter Nutter cookies. Also, honestly, I burnt those. I'm not really a chef, but I'm really good at concocting. So I wouldn't say I cook, but I concoct because I just throw a bunch of stuff together and most of the time it tastes really good, but I'm not going to sit here and call myself a chef. So we've been concocting. We designed these clothes. I've been drawing, which has been super fun because I haven't had markers in a long time because the book and the Nutter became such a focus. Some of my other hobbies kind of just, I've been practicing my Tai Chi, and as you guys may know, I've been working on my left leg cartwheel. I got really good at that. So I've been practicing my Tai Chi, been doing my cartwheels, my kick over, back bend thingy-majigs, my handstands, my usual workouts. I go for walks in the jungle, say hey to the cows. I saw the biggest pigs I've ever seen. That was crazy. They were like the size of horses, these pigs. I was like, my mouth dropped. I was like, that's a pig? That's crazy. There were 2 of them. So we go walks in the jungle, the cows. There's so many animals here. All the Balinese ceremonies. The music is crazy. I wouldn't call it good. So, yeah. Oh, we've been taking baths every day. There's a huge stone outdoor bath. I've been making fires every night. And here's the thing, guys. Now, the best part about this melt mode is, of course, the way I've designed Planit Butter is so that every single thing that I do with my time on this earth, there's a bug going crazy on the floor over there. Everything that I do with my time is under the ecosystem of Planit Butter. So this melt mode was not only not at all, not an I'm tired, I'm going to go rest. I've rested plenty as needed. I was depleted specifically in relation to logistics, writing, physical travel, and emotional processing. Okay, so this melt mode was entirely intentional, entirely strategic, and entirely personal responsibility. The definition of Planit Butter, the definition of personal responsibility through Planit Butter's lens is the willingness to do more, do less, and pivot what is within our control. So, this was a pivot. Melt mode was a pivot of what is within my control. And personal responsibility is also, through Planet Butter's lens, the more, the less, and the pivot that excites us. So through my travels, of course, I mean, despite the fact that everything I do and I'm always traveling, I'm always moving. This Bali's home base, these last few months, were a special type of intense and demanded the embodiment of being eccentric to the most extreme of levels that by the wind down of it, having finished the book, mission accomplished, being here in Bali, it was time to pivot. So we were dancing between the personal responsibility of doing more and doing less while on the adventure of finishing and releasing this book. Now the responsibility became pivot what is in my control. Pivot what excites me and is within my control. So what excited me? Jungle, drawing, Tai Chi, concocting, baths, fire, reading. Oh yeah, I didn't say that before. Reading. Guys, I haven't been reading because I've been reading my own freaking book for so long. Designing these clothes. All these things, right? And we planted and locked in the seed with the designer. So always working. And I say that with such love, passion, intensity, focus, Planet Butter Jet, top of mind. Planet Butter has been designed as an ecosystem for me to evolve in a way that is perpetually valuable and applicable to you. That's always been the goal. It's always been the vision, and I'm going to keep letting it unfold, and I will keep watching it, and I hope you will join me. So I'm so stoked. Now, in the spirit of this very strategic melt mode, I want to emphasize the strategy here. Everything I do is strategic, intentional, and thought through with the long-term goals and vision of Planet Butter in mind, which is a perpetual evolution of my own existence through being into-centric. And I hope to inspire you to consider the same. So, this pivot brings us to, in this time, being intentional and strategic, I stumbled upon in a random page read from The Art of Clear Thinking by Hazard Lee, a fighter pilot's guide to making tough decisions. He says, in addition to power laws, there are often areas in a system where a small change in the input can disproportionately affect the output. These tipping points are critical moments when a minor change can make a major difference. Oh, think of water, for instance. The difference between 33 degrees Fahrenheit and 31 degrees Fahrenheit doesn't feel that different, but it can turn water into ice. The old proverb of the straw that broke the camel's back is an example of this. As weight is loaded onto the camel, eventually a tiny amount of weight causes a massive change to the camel's health. Tipping points can be found in every field and are often difficult for us to conceptualize because they represent extreme forms of non-linear behavior. Thank you, Hazard Lee. So, my little abs. Guys, do you understand this? This melt mode, these 2 weeks, this 1 week of going off the fucking grid was entirely intentional and strategic in the spirit of releasing the work that I've already output, the book having been gifted and released, even in just the ebook format, was done. The mission was accomplished. My role was done. Time to release because, as we say on Planet Butter, uni's got it. So I knew it's my time to let that shit go. Focus my energy elsewhere, magnetize the energy towards the book by focusing elsewhere, designing the clothes, drawing all of the other things that I just shared with you, and be off the radar, no communication, no promotion, no anything. Magnetize, 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 because this is Planit Butter's tipping point. Mark my words. I still haven't checked in with society. I'm still off the grid. I am recording this off the grid, unknowing to my emails, to my Instagram, to my anything. I don't know anything going on. Anything. But I know this is Planit Butter's tipping point. And another random page that I had opened to in a different book spoke about critical mass. Get this. Critical mass is the smallest amount of special material that can split apart and release energy needed for the chain reaction to keep going by itself instead of stopping. Think of it like this. If you're trying to start a campfire, one little twig won't burn for long. But if you have enough sticks close together, once one catches fire, the flames spread and the whole pile keeps burning. Meaning, Planit Butter is essentially a campfire in this situation. There was never, well, there was once upon a time, I suppose, one little stick. But what I've done over the years is I've created all the sticks in a perfectly designed little campfire, which I actually now know how to do. And I let that shit burn during this time, because this is the non-linear tipping point. So on the outside, well, I don't know what's going on the outside. On the inside, the way I think is in respect of time not being linear, and therefore everything not being linear. So all I know is newness and magic, because I did my part. My campfire is burning over there, and the uni's got it. So we're going to see what happens next. That's really all I know. And I'm so excited to see what happens next, because this is the tipping point. This is the critical mass. And this is going to be epic. And I don't know what is happening, but it is. And when I opened to that page of the critical mass book, there was literally a piece of art that was described, and the description of the art was two monks in a forest, like giggling together, waiting for the next. I don't know. It was me. Basically, it was me, because this entire time me being silent for a week, I was playing the silent game with myself. You know when you were a kid and you, like, if you were with your best friend in a class and the two of you couldn't stop giggling together, you get in trouble and you're trying to stop laughing? That's me with myself playing the quiet game by myself in a jungle. Just giggling to myself constantly. Giggles were allowed. So the only thing I've done for the last week is literally giggle. Giggle, 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 giggle. Lots of talking in here, duh. Lots of it. But just giggle, giggle, giggle. And there's in the movie Dodgeball, in the beginning when they're introducing there's like a documentary about what the sport of dodgeball is, and there's a part where Patches O'Houlihan says, there's a little kid running, he goes, "Slow down there, sport." And that has been playing in my head every time, especially I'm in the kitchen and I do some concocting that's absolutely absurd. I hear in my head, "Slow down there, sport." It's hilarious. So that's an inside joke with myself. I'm just sharing it with you for who knows why. Maybe you'll find it funny. Laugh with me, at me, your choice. So anyway, that's it. That's melt mode. Strategic, intentional, excited, giggling, creating, and we don't know what is about to happen, but I am so excited. That's it, guys. I'm gonna go finish my melt mode. It's been so nice talking for the first time in a week. Oh my goodness. Let's see what happens next. Bali book 2. Bali book 2. That's what's next. And magic that we don't know about. I'm so excited. Okay. Thanks for visiting Planet Butter, my planet, where I hopefully inspire you to take fun seriously by being intucentric, leading with intuition while prioritizing self-control and self-expression in the best interest of all. I will see you Thursday. From my planet to yours, Jordan Blizzard Planet. And email me if you want about literally anything relating to being intucentric, your world, la 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 la. My planet to yours at gmail.com. Again, I'll see you Thursday.